So let's get to the next thing. So if we play the game now and we spawn here, we don't have a weapon. So how about we add the weapon? First we need to go to our procedural level, and we are going to add the weapon the same way we moved our character. We are going to add it in the beginning of our actually not beginning, but yeah, beginning of this function here. And we're going to use the same player start location for the weapon. So we're going to spawn it the same way we move the character. So how do we spawn anything in the world? We can just type spawn, right? And we can spawn something here, but what we need is spawn actor from class. And this we need the rifle class. Why do we need the rifle class? Basically, if you go to the browse here, you find it it's in the first person blueprints. This is our weapon. In Unreal 5 they separated the weapon from the character and made it a pickable item. So we need this item, we need to spawn this item. And where do we need to spawn it? As I said, the same location as the player start location. So if we split this struct, which is our transform, and we get the player start location, again we are setting it here, and we spawn connect it to the transform, and now we play the game. You have this gun, but as you see, we cannot pick it up. We cannot pick it up because we are colliding with it the moment we got spawned, and the function to be picked up is on when we start colliding. But if we spawn colliding, it won't trigger. So all we need to do here really is actually move it a bit further from the spawn, and we can do that by splitting. We need to split this one as well, connect the Z here. Also I think it's better to make it a bit higher as well. 40 will be nice, so make it 40 in the Z, so it's a bit higher. And in the X, which if you remember, the X-axis is the one that points toward the sun and is the one that we are spawning our cubes or platforms towards. So now if we compile and play the game, now as you see we have it spawned a bit further away from us. It's not on us, so if we get close we can pick it up, and yeah, we are spawning things. So yeah, this is the whole thing. And yeah, this is how we spawn the rifle. So if you see in the game here, in the finished game, we have these bombs and the platforms and the things that we need to shoot. These things, we are going to create them in the next section. So let's get into that. So let's create our blueprint. Go to blueprint class, go to your blueprint folder, create actor and name it blueprint targets. So this will be our main class, and from here we're going to create blueprint classes, instances basically of this class, child classes, not classes, child actors of this one. And yeah, but let's just open it first. So now that we have this opened, we can go here and add a static mesh, just so we have something to visualize. Name it target mesh, and here we can choose something like this platform here. And now, as you remember, in the game we have different objects, different targets that we're going to create. Stationary one, that the platform that doesn't move, movable platform, pickable objects like the cube, the blue cube that you pick for points, the game end, which is the big blue pillar that you need to go to the next level, and the bomb. So how do we create all of these objects? First, we actually need a list of them. So go to your blueprint folder and go to blueprints, create enumeration, and this will be our list. We can call it targets. Yep. And here we can simply create a few of them. We can name this movable platform. This is literally a list of things, and stationary platform. After that, we are going to pick them, and whether we picked whether we picked movable platform, we're going to have different results. And I'm going to show you really soon what I mean. So let's just create the list here. Pickable objects, we need game end, and here bomb. So bomb, sorry. So yeah, these are our enumerations, our list. And then if you go to targets here, and now we need to read from that list that we just created. And to read from the list, we just need object type, which is we can create it as a variable. So let's go to variables, and we can name it like object type, and this will be the type of object that we get from our targets, list of targets. So here, this variable here is actually needs to be this list here. So what we can do is type targets, and here in enum you can see it and you can get it. And now if we sorry, I think I got the wrong one, sorry. Targets, and now if we get it in the construction script, because I want things to change based on their I want this target mesh to change based on the items I pick. So you can do that with switch on items. So here, switch on target, sorry. And for example, on stationary or movable platforms, let's start with the movable. We can do get this target mesh, set static mesh, and in the movable here, and here we can set a mesh, and you can do that, or you can also create a variable. But the thing is, if we can do all this, let me disable that, but let me show you something. If we go to targets here in the blueprint, and again create a child blueprint class and name it BP targets, let's start with movable, and here in the movable child, you can actually change it, for example, to this one. So initially I decided to use object types and to switch on object types, and don't get me wrong, we're going to use this, it's very important, but not for the target mesh changing. So let's delete this, and here we actually need to get back to the platform. And for the movable platform, we need to set some things. The first one, we need to change the scale of the target mesh, and by the scale, so how do we do that? We can simply go here in the scale, and in the y-axis just put 0.2, and now we have this platform thing here. And if we place it in the world, so if we place the parent, as you see, the parent is the cube, but the platform is the thing that we already set. I'm a bit worried, not worried, but right now if you see the direction should be towards the sun, and its rotation is a bit wrong, so we need to actually change the rotation. But I'm actually gonna leave this so we can you can see it real time. The next thing we need to do is actually spawn this platform into the world. So let's get into that. Let's go to our procedural level here, and here we have this do once. However, we need to spawn our objects before the do once node, because this is going to, everything after this is going to trigger only once, and that's why we are setting the player location here. So we're going to use a sequence here. This is very useful for stuff like this, the sequence node. So let me organize a bit here. So we use this sequence, and then we just need to spawn an actor, right? Again, spawn actor from class. And what class we need? We need this class, target movable, right? This is the class we need. So select this class here, and now it says spawn transform. You need to split the struct here. The scale is correct, and now we need the location. So where do we want this to spawn? Well, we want it to spawn somewhere around the platform, the stepping platform that we step on, right? Somewhere in that space, maybe even a bit more or less, but yeah, somewhere there. And we are literally going to do the same thing like this with the random location, and yeah. So now we have our player start location. Let me get it, player start location, and from here again we are going to add different things, and yeah, we can split it. As you see, we can use not that, we are going to add it, but in a bit different way. So let me get these ranges here and get it like this. We need plus like this, and now just connect these three in here, and in the transform, actually we can, this is okay, let's just connect it here. And now we can set these random float ranges. Let's go with minus 700 to 700, minus 500 to 500. This is the X and Y, so we are getting the center of the cube with the player start location, and we are doing this random location in x and y between these numbers, so it can go either way around this center in radius of x 700, or rather radius of 700, and y radius of 500. I want them to move more towards the sun, like towards the direction of the cubes rather than left and right. And the z-axis, I'm going to do 130 and 400. And now if I compile and if I play the game, this is what happens. All of them first are getting spawned in here, and there are, I know, 10 of them, the amount of levels we got. So yeah, and they're rotated differently. As I said before, we need to change the rotation here to 90 degree, and now if we play the game, we have the correct rotation. I think the scale is wrong as well, but we're going to fix that later. But for now, let's fix the problem where it basically spawns in a different let's make it spawn in a different cube every single time in a different platform. To do that, we're actually not going to do player start location. What we are going to do is create a new one and just duplicate this one, this vector, and call this movable location, and we can get the player start and then set the movable location here, connect this to here. Let me move these guys away and organize a bit. It's very important to organize your workspace so you don't get cluttered, and if you're disorganized, it will just make your life a lot worse. So let's do that. And yeah, we are setting it. I don't need this pin here. We are setting the movable location to a player start. Okay, sorry. We are setting the movable location from the player start location, and from this we are going to add every single time. And yeah, let's see what happens. So we need to get movable location, or you can use this one, but I prefer to have another one, and just control and drag these pins here. And now we still have them. All of them are here. And this is definitely not what we desire, and that is happening because we are not going to use the player start location. Sorry about that, because again it's done here. I already said it once, but I still didn't do it. We can actually do this one. It's again get world location and set it here. And now we have the movable location, and if we play the game, they are spawned on every cube. Every single cube has one platform, and yeah, and this is not actually what we want. We want this to have a chance of platform being spawned every time. So how do you create a chance to something for something to happen. Again, this is pretty simple. Press and hold B and then left mouse button to create a branch. And now on this branch we are going to check our chance, and to get a chance something to happen, all you need is random bool with weight, and this here is the chance. So if this here there is a 50% chance this to be true. So if it's true, we spawn it. If it's not, we don't spawn it. And now if we play the game, as you see, this first one has it, but the second one doesn't have anything. The third one doesn't have anything. And the fourth one as well, but here you have. So there we have it. We have a chance. I want to actually expose this to promote to a variable and call it movable target chance, and we are going to do this with all the targets because we are going to change their chances based on how much you progress in the game. So let's make now is a good time to actually make a category, and we are going to call it targets, and here we are going to move everything that is related to our targets spawning to this folder. And now I also want to create like for these targets, maybe I want, for example, if you play the game, now it spawns only one, right? But how about to have a chance to spawn more than one? You can have like 2 movable or stationary targets. Currently this is not moving because we are going to create this next, but first let's also add chance to spawn more than one. So how do we do this? To spawn more than one, we already did something like that. So for each loop we're going to use the same thing. We no, sorry, not for each loop, for loop. We're going to use the same technique as we used to spawn the stepping platforms. So if we connect here, and but we do need to let's make this one. We need the last index to be random between 2 numbers, and we already used this one, right? But we cannot use random float in range because this is integer, so we need to use random integer in random integer in range, and we're going to have maybe we need 0. We need a chance for it to not spawn. Maybe, yeah, let's leave the chance thing to here. So from 1 to 2, so it can spawn maximum of 2 movable targets. And now if we play the game, I don't know if you see it, but up in the distance you have one that has 2 on them. You see here you have 1 here and 1 here, so it had chance to spawn 2 and it spawned them here. It's pretty random. So next we're going to create the moving part of this movable platform, so let's get into that. Before we actually go to the moving the platform part, something is really bugging me, so I'm actually going to increase the scale of this thing. Let's see if that works. It's still not okay, so I'm going to do this. I think this is okay, but maybe in my game, in the original game, I used different mesh, so the scale and everything is different. This looks a bit weird. Let's do it like this. I think this is not bad. We can do 3, and yeah, we have these platforms, and this is what I wanted to do because it was boring me. So to create the moving platform, all we need to do, it's as simple as just creating a timeline. So let's create a timeline and call it movement. And in here, if you double click this timeline, we need to add a track, and we are going to use a float track. Let's call it movement, and let's make it like 6 seconds. So this is the time that it will go. It will move from left to right and so on, and this is the time that one full rotation will take, 6 seconds. You can choose to do it in some other way, but more time or slower or faster or whatever. But let's make a point here. This will be our starting point, and let another one here, create another one here, and this one will be at 2 seconds. Let me extend and zoom here. This will be at 2 seconds, and let's make them auto so it's a bit smoother. This will be at 2 seconds, and it will be 1. At 2 seconds it will be 1, and let's create another one, and here this one will be at 4 seconds, and you will soon you will soon realize what I'm doing, and this will be -1. So I am creating a curve. So next I need one to go to 6 seconds, and this will be to 0. And let's smooth everything, and now we will have something that starts from 0, goes to 1, at 2 seconds it's 1, and then goes back and goes to -1 at 4 seconds, and then returns to 6, so it's seamless. The end and the start should be always one value, because we can create a loop, and we are going to loop it, so it's going to loop. Now if we go to the event graph with this information that we created right now, we need to basically set the movement of the target mesh, which is this guy here. We are going to set relative location. And why I'm using relative location? Because if we use world location, we're going to have very weird numbers here, and we cannot work with that. Relative location is the location in this space here, which is start from 0, 0, 0. It's a lot easier to work with, while if you go here and drop this guy here and go to location, you have some world. This is world coordinates, while this is local coordinates, which is 0, 0, 0. I hope you understand this, but now we need to update it, and currently it will be 0, 0, 0. So how do we change it? We want it to move only in y-axis. So what we want is this to move left and right and left and right, and this is, as you see, x, as I said, is towards the sun, this one here, the red one. Y is here, so we want it to move, sorry, like this, right? And to do that, we actually need to get relative location, and we need to split this one, and we need to modify the y-axis and then put it here. So again, we can move anything by adding something to any of the values. So we can move it in up and down if we add something to the value. So just add. Next thing is what we're going to add. Well, we did create this here, right? And it's going to be our basically direction from left to right. And we need to multiply it, because we don't add direction, we multiply direction. And if you remember, you multiply direction by speed. We already did this. If we go, I think, was it procedural? In the procedural level, we multiplied direction by speed, or was it here? No, it was here, yeah. In the first person character, our dash system, we have this direction and we multiply it by speed, and it's the same here. We need this direction because this is our direction, and we are going to multiply this again, multiply by speed. But this is a good time to create target speed, and this will be a float. This is our speed. However, we can multiply it by speed and come here. I mean, not come, connected to here, there, of course. And now let's set our speed to, I don't know, 20. And if we play the game, nothing happens because we have not connected that. So now they move, they stop, they get back, they move again. So here we have it, we have the speed. Oops. They move left and right. This is the what we want. However, we want something more, and we want random target speed, and for every single one of them. So we can set the target speed, and again, I mean, random, we already used random float in range, so we are going to use that, and let's do it minus 20 to 20, and here we can create a direction. Actually, here we need to create a direction in which direction is moving. Oops, yeah, okay, it spawned over me. So now it moves, but I don't know if you notice, but it always moves to there, to this direction. Yeah, it goes left and right, but it always goes towards right. This is always the start, and you see that because it's a bit offset from this platform, and it's offset towards it's offset towards the right more, and we don't necessarily desire that. To do this, we need to actually create a direction, and we are going to create this direction and do it integer. We only need integer, we don't need float numbers here. Again, random integer in range, and we're going from -1 to 1. Let's say -1 to 1, and now here we're going to multiply our speed, actually our speed with our direction, then multiply it with the time, and now we will have this guy is pretty static. That's because we did say from -20 to 20, and you see this guy here is moving in that direction, and that guy there is offset to the left, not to the right, and this is what we did with this direction. So now we have our moving platform actually moving, and that's for the moving platform. Next we are going to create the stationary one, and luckily this one it's a bit easier. Just create a child of this main target, so stationary. For this one we need to set it to 3 like the other one, but annotation 90, and that's really all we need really. We don't need anything else to create the stationary target. This is all you need. Pretty simple, right? I wish every single one was this easy, but well, it's not. So let's move to the next one.